Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today's feature match for you, we've got two very fun decks for you. We've got Ordinemon using the Mastemon package, the Mastemon engine, to formulate a cohesive strategy to go into the Ordine, kind of how the original intent was. I know a lot of other people have started making Ordine turbo decks that are very different, but I wanted to stick to on theme for this one, as well as we have a Leomon deck for you that is very fun. Really enjoy it. It does struggle against certain situations, which we will see those exact situations come up in this matchup, but still very solid deck even still. Don't forget, our new memory marker this month, though, is Gummymon. If you're just a Terriermon fan or you're playing some green in this format, this is a pretty great memory marker to use. You can find this on our Etsy store, link in the description below. This is handmade out of clay by my wife, hand-painted face as well. Very adorable. Complements our Cocomon if you picked up our Cocomon very nicely. Also on that Etsy page, you can find all of our previous memory markers that we featured on the channel, as well as some of our Battle Ready Inc. merch. Alright, kicking things off, we've got Ordine going first here. We see that Narrowmon coming down with a Psychmon following it up. Psychmon, a pretty good tech right now against the Death X in general. And then just evoing the Gatomon. Not very often we see the Gatomon being evoed in at all these days. Most times it's getting hard played. Kicking it over to blue, though, we see that Upamon coming down with the Gabumon, giving that little extra DP buff, allowing those Leomons to maybe survive swinging into security. Then we see the OG Leomon coming down and following it up with a Pangeamon, actually running the Pangeamon in the deck there. That's the inheritable when attacking, gain 1 memory. Not too bad of a card for sure, especially if you're going to Evo for 0 on top of it. But over here to Mastemon, we see that Lady Devi coming down there, OG Lady Devi. So getting that draw 3 in total and then discarding 2. We see a Maycrackmon there getting discarded. Possible target for Flame Hill Scythe in the future, as well as a Maykumon. Getting rid of that Maykumon, definitely an interesting choice for sure. And just playing a Candlemon to pass turn. Very interesting play for sure. Even from just like a Maste perspective. Very odd. Here, though, we do see that Pangeamon X, or whatever you want to call it. It has several names. But 0 Evo here, going to swing in. It's going to have basically the same effect as the others of when it gets deleted, you get to play that Leomon out for free. Gains that 1 from the Pangeamon inheritable here. And swinging should be at maybe 8,000 with that Gabumon. Draw for the Upamon also. And security check here just hits into a little Salamon. Unfortunate for Leomon there. Probably definitely wanted to play out that OG one. But here we see a Jerry coming down, playing out another OG Leomon for 4. Pretty snazzy there. Not sure what that was. Maybe, drew too many there. Yeah, draw for when they attack you, not for when you play a Leomon. So jump the gun on that draw a little bit. Kicking it back over to Maste, though, we see another Narrowmon, Candlemon coming down on it. You don't see the Candlemons being used too much in Maste anymore either these days. Oh, we see the Magna Angemon coming down, though, so we're going to get that nice recovery, and that Gatomon will now trigger, allowing them to immediately fuse into Mastemon herself. And, nope, not the Maste. There you go. And so taking ones from trash, gets to put it in security, play something out of security, and pop something. So curious to see if what they'll grab here, if they go for the Maycrack, or if they're going to go for something else. I think they go for the Maykumon. Yeah, they go for the Maykumon. Trying to put the Maykumon in security. It is a security Digimon, which is actually a pretty snazzy little interaction there, placing that security Digimon in there, and then playing out something else. Unfortunately, has nothing else to play out. That should kind of tell you how Maycracked that security might be. Actually, very terrifying there. So, going to play out the Maykumon, pops the OG Leomon, giving an extra 2 memory on deletion there. Tons of memory to work with right now for for Leomon. So curious to see what they do here. Goes into the Imperial, has the memory to do it, so doesn't want to pass up on it. Although I think it's a questionable play there because you don't have the Leomon X. If you had the Leomon X, you could play that out for the green and the Leomon for the blue. Getting to play out two things would be a lot more powerful. Here, you're just getting the one. You're going to get draw for the Upa, gain one for the Pangea. I don't know if they gained one or not. I might have missed it. Oh, but hits into a Chaos Degradation there. Very, very unfortunate. Probably bottom security the Leomon, honestly. So that way you don't have to deal with that on deletion effect. Yeah, and you don't want it to, get any kind of swings or evos on top of it. Man, that is super unfortunate here. So looks like... What are they? There we go. Okay, that was a long decision there. I feel like it was pretty obvious, but also could have dodged, I guess, the Gomon as well. But yeah, getting rid of that Leomon, I think, is the way to go. Imperial has done its thing. It doesn't really, besides being a decently big body, it's not really doing much any good. And then Mastay could always just swing over it if it wanted. Or seeing that Davis come down for the Memory Fixer. Ooh, bottom decking a Mega Death probably feels pretty bad in this situation. Also, there goes the Memory Blocker, which isn't too important in this matchup. Yeah, there is two Candlemons, like, technically in play right now. And then just evoing the Leomon in raising all that memory. Kind of a little lackluster. Playing the Davis, having to search for something, definitely kind of signals that they did not have too big of plays available to them. So here we are going to see that Mastay here. Going to proc the Jerry. Jerry getting allowing drawing a card and getting running over that Imperial. So just kind of clearing the board a little bit, allowing for any sort of plays they want to do, really. I mean, triggering the Narrowmon here also for that swing. Yeah, not really much they have to worry about. Yeah, they got a Leomon in raising, but that's not going to, like, win them a game or anything like that. So, going to just take this opportunity to get a little bit of aggressive here. You're going to see that Narrowmon trigger again for that Candlemon. And get a free little rookie security check. Hits into a Davis and Ken. A very interesting development there. Gets to keep their Candlemon, which I'm sure they're not too worried about, but does lose out on that. Ooh, we see finally the first Leomon X finally showing up to the party. Took forever here. Does lose that Candlemon, and then looks like they're gonna pass turn with the Lady Devi to draw 3, discard 2 as always. That Meikumon not giving any sort of nice little Evo reduction. Ooh, we see a Lucymon finally entering the fray in the form of getting trashed, which means could see it on a follow-up Mastaymon potentially here. But kicking it back over, Davis setting on the 3. Going to promote up that Leomon, going to gain the 1 from the Duo Tamer. Now is the time, though, to do something. More Davis having to dig. I think that huge hand, and then just seeing that they still are not hitting their pieces here. We do see 2 Leomon X's, though, one being blue or green and the other one being green or blue. So Davis being able to actually add both of those to hand. Looks like they are debating the rookie, but decides to grab those. They did lose one in security earlier, so there's not many of those left. Definitely want to take advantage of those while you can. We're going to see that Leomon swinging here. Does go over the Candlemon, so you can ensure that it does survive. And then going to Evo into the Leomon X. Use that Memory Tamer to unsuspend. Pretty snazzy little combination there for sure. Draw for Evo. Yeah, that 0 Evo. Pretty solid. Now you can go ahead and swing into... security, I would imagine. Yeah. Doesn't die, though. Again, another little Salamon. Every time they swing in for security, it's just never anything that, like, impactful at all. Always hitting the wrong things at the wrong times. Evo's the Lobomon just to pass turn, needing another draw. They do have a Davis already in play, so... Although you do have to worry about that Lucymon that is in rotation. That Lucymon very easily could pop that Davis. You got to be very careful. Oof. Flame Hellscythe, though, is brutal. So the issue with Leomon X is it has to be destroyed by battle to get its ability. So all these other ways that destroy him just are not that great. Does get at least the 1 memory gain from the Gomamon inheritable, but doesn't get the Leomon X ability, which is super, super rough. And then they decide to play the Maycrackmon off of the Flame Hellscythe. Very interesting choice. I don't know why they've already used the magnets underneath the Mastay right now. And they probably wanted a yellow target to maybe to go in with the Lady Devi there. And then Mastay's ability there, a card was, played from an effect, so it gets to pop something. Oof. Mastay putting in a lot of work here. Doesn't even have to attack, just plays a single card, clears 2 Digimon. But we see another OG Leomon getting evoed in Raising Area on top of a Gomamon. Like, that's a lot of memory gain if you can actually get it to pop off here. Here we do see the Megadeth finally getting used. Going to bounce that Mastay to hand. Going to lose a lot of inheritables. But they've already got 2 level 5s on field. I don't know if that's even going to matter at this point. I don't know if it's going to do any good. I guess it does give them like one less security check, potentially. Still, though, still not all that impressive. Maybe you should have bounced the Lady Devi or something. I don't know. And then, yeah, there we do see that Mastay come right back down. Gets to use its effect. Goes for the Magna Angemon. I feel like Lucymon would have been the choice here. Maybe they are a little worried about that Leomon doing some sort of damage and enough hybrids. They do know that they play hybrids now. Maybe they're a little bit worried about that. But yeah, we're going to see that Magna coming down here. Going to get that recovery. No Mastay effect. Nothing to pop, though. And it's time to start swinging again, it looks like. Just hits into a Gabumon. Nothing too crazy. And then going to play a Gatomon to pass turn instead of swinging with the Psychmon. I wonder why they didn't swing with the Psychmon. It's not like it's doing anything in this matchup. But we'll get that Gatomon search, though, which is still pretty solid. So reveal 3, add 1 yellow, 1 and 1 purple. Similar to Davis there. But, in the form of a body with a fantastic inheritable. Gets to add 2, though. Always super good value when you get 2 adds off of 1 Gato. And here we see that Leomon getting promoted up. Gain the 1 memory from the Duo Tamer. And so what do you do at this point? Do you just kind of start swinging and praying? Jerry not doing you any good here. No point in looking at that. So does decide to swing in. Risk it for the biscuit again. See what they can make of it. Just hits into a Kari. A little unfortunate, though. That means no more memory choking moving forward here. But can go into another Leomon X. Use that Duo Tamer to unsuspend. So 0 Evo. Gets a draw. And maybe they'll get lucky and actually die to battle this time. But no. No, they don't. They hit into another Flame Hellscythe, killing another Leomon X. That's literally the rough. Both Leomons getting played here. Does get the 1 from the Gomamon, but both Leomon X's dying to Flame Hellscythe is probably one of the most depressing parts of this whole matchup. And then gets the free play off the Flame Hellscythe. Goes for the Gatomon here to dig more. I really don't know what else they could be needing at this point. I feel like they have a pretty stacked hand, as well as this pretty stacked field. Not really sure what else they can need. Gonna add the level 5 Angemon, and then that Meikumon off of that. Oof. Still technically Leomon's turn, although in a heck of a funky position. Going to play out the Ice Wall to try to give themselves 1 more turn. Goes into the Gabumon, and then Evo's into the blocker Leomon. Would have been nice to choke them at 1 memory, but hitting into that Kari, not going to let that happen. Blocker Leomon, though, not too bad. Hopefully they can get some sort of use out of it this time. We'll gain memory and draw a card if it gets deleted. Here we're going to see a Lady Devi come down, which is 2 level 5s on field now. Get that Lady Devi effect. But with that Magna Angemon, that means we got to see yet another Mastaymon potentially. I mean, if a hand size that big, there's got to be another Mastay, right? I don't think a Mastay's been deleted. We've only seen the 1 bounced so far. Ditching the Angelmon and the Black Gatomon here. And yeah, there we go. We see the DNA into the Mastay. Probably going to go ahead and pop that Leomon. Yeah, and I'm curious. Yeah, okay. I was curious to see what they're going to add. If they're going to do the Leomon yet or not. Finally popping those tamers, getting them out of here, as well as popping the Leomon. They are at 2 memory, so even if the Leomon dies, it's not the end of the world. And popping the memory fixer with that Lucymon. Yeah, because Davis and Ken aren't going to get you anything at this point because there's going to be nothing on field at the beginning of the main phase. And should be triggering that Kari now because the Lucymon was added to security, which will gain them 1 memory back. Looks like they debate it if they want to or not, which they do decide to go for it, gain the 1. Probably just attack at this point and pass the turn at giving them 1 memory. I think that's what I would have done. Just swing with one of like the Mastemons or something. Instead they play a Candlemon though, get our huge board. I mean, when you do plays like this though, I mean, you're just begging to get Death X. Like Death X in this situation would be pretty solid. I mean, it's not like the best, but it would clear 2 Mastemons and clear 3 other Digimon on field. Unfortunately, it looks like they're just playing another Jerry and another blocker Leomon, but that is a lot of attacks. Definitely need the Death X-Mon in this situation. Would have definitely helped a lot. Been able to play it, for super cheap, and then play out that blocker Leomon. Could have maybe bought them another turn. Maybe could have actually won them the game, just depending on how this played out. Although Ordinemon here coming in finally at the end, gonna blow up that Leomon. Leomon gaining 2, drawing 1 card. Ordinemon recovering 1, and then using that Kari to gain 1 memory back. No Ice Wall in play here. Activating the Jerry is gonna draw 2 cards here. I think the only thing that could possibly save you at this point would be hitting into like a bunch of Ice Walls. Just a Goma on the first one here. Swinging next with the Lucymon. Really, yeah. And there we do finally see the Hammer Spark coming in. But we know that last card is bottom decked Leomon. So not going to be able to be another Hammer Spark. Sadly for them, even if it was though, like that field over there is still absolutely massive. Not much they could have done about that. Super rough. I think the worst part for poor Leomon in this matchup was just the Flame Hell size, putting in so much work against them, and then the Chaos Degradation as well. Just all the worst possible options they could have hit into. And it was those. So no destruction effects and no deletion by battle for Leomon. So missed out on so many triggers just because of hitting into the wrong things at the wrong time. Pretty rough. As far as those decks, first up we've got the Ordyne deck, which is basically just a Maste deck that we've come to know pretty well. The Psychmon in here to deal with BL Star decks as well as deal with Death X as well. Stops the Death X from being able to reduce its on play cost. Not too bad. Candlemon, Salamon, a lot of people have been dropping this whole package and just going with like the Gatomon straight up, which is definitely a pretty solid alternative way of building it. But as far as just Maste, like this is pretty classic Maste here. Nothing too crazy out there. The Regulamon here we did not see come into play, but in those moments when you get really far behind, a Regulamon and a Mastemon can actually go into an Ordinemon and do some crazy work. Or like literally, if the roles had been reversed and they had to feel that big, and Ordinemon had come into play, like absolutely would have wrecked, and gained so much memory or gained so much security would have been crazy. But it did not play out that way, unfortunately. And then here is that Leomon deck. Seeing the Gomamons in there tagging out with the Leomons, the classic Leomons, as well as the blocker Leomon. Just tons and tons of memory gain. The Xiaomon here just kind of helping ensuring that they do survive security if you want them to survive. Force the opponent to clear them themselves off the field. The memory blocker, just a solid one for tons of matchups in this format, like Alphamon, things like that. And the Gabumon, same premise as the Xiaomon there, just giving that little extra DP, surviving the security. Pangeamon, actually using the Pangeamon with Pangeamon X. Yeah, just that's really cool to see it in action like that. That memory gain from the attack is pretty solid. And then Imperial Dramon, I like Imperial Dramon probably the most because you get his effects when Digivolving to play out that blue and that green. And I think that's really important because the alternative is something like a Metal Garurumon from BT1, and that's when attacking you can play one out. But I think the when Digivolving is a little bit more important, just so you can guarantee that you get it even if it passes turn. And then if you have the Leomon X and the Leomon, that's 2 targets you get to play out instead of just one. Whereas the Metal Garurumon only gets to play out 1 per attack. So yeah, Imperial Dramon, very, very spicy in this deck. I really, really like it. Jerry, it's a solid card in Leomon. It makes sense. There's tons of Leomons that you can play out for free off of the Jerry, so not too terrible. I wish it was a memory fixer, though. Like, understand the 4 play cost makes sense, because you're playing out these 5, 6 play cost Digimon off of her. But like after she does that, it's just like, okay, I get a draw every so often now, and that's it. Davis, always solid. Everything else in here pretty much makes sense to me. The hybrid and stuff like that. You play enough tamers that sure throw in a couple hybrids for hybrid for game randomly. But really the Imperial Dramon is like the spiciest thing in here. I think that's really awesome because yeah, playing out the Leomon X for your green and then one of your Leomons for your blue is pretty snazzy.